Hello. Is anybody there? Let's see. I can't tell. First time jitters. I can't tell if, oh, Sandra, I see you. Thank you. This is tricky for me. I haven't done this before. There's so many bells and whistles on YouTube to get used to in setting this up, and I don't know if I've done it right or not. Let's see. Oh, there everybody is. Sandra, Ozark, Tangi. Great. Thank you. This is hard to get used to, the tabs going back and forth between the participants and the chat and the live streaming and the, I don't know. Anyway, welcome to my very first live for Toadstool Tarot. I am Robin. And it's tea time here. I don't know what time it is where you are. Hello, Forest and Fawn, Tar Apple. Simon, thank you so much for showing up. I'm all... what's everybody drinking? Or isn't anybody drinking? I have today organic spearmint tea. It's tea time here in New York. It's 4 o'clock. I guess it's what, almost bedtime in England. And Donna, what time is it out where you are in Arkansas? I don't know. Anyway, welcome to the channel, and I don't know what we're going to get into today. I thought since this is the first time, maybe we would I would make a fool of myself, and we'd talk about the fool's journey. And that brings me to my shirt. If you haven't seen it, it is the cover art from the incredible string bands, The 5,000 Spirits or the Layers of the Onion, which makes me think of the tarot and all its governing spirits and layers. This shirt, or this painting, was designed by a graphics team called The Fool, named after the card, The Fool. They're from the Netherlands, and it was from the late 60s. And so that's why I'm wearing this today. Let's see, what do we got here? Lots of hellos. Thanks, Tar Apple. Let's see, where do we go from here? Oh, okay, let's make a fool of me. I was inspired some time ago, about a few years ago, I started crocheting, and I was inspired by this book, my favorite childhood book of fairy tales, called The Giant Golden Book of Elves and Fairies. And it's by Garth Williams, who you all might know from Charlotte's Web or Stuart Little. But this was an amazing book. And there was one illustration in particular in the book that I really loved, from this poem by Marjorie Allingham. And I don't know if you can see the image, but it's these elves walking up a mountainside, and they're very androgynous. And I liked it so much, and I loved the hats, and I thought, I'm gonna crochet myself a hat like that. So we're gonna start off with a little hat show. So these are some of my pointy hats. See if I can position this so you can see them in their full glory. And they're inspired by the elves in those illustrations. This is more witchy. Yeah, I can see Tangi in one of these too. This is more pixie. Psychedelic, neon. Rainbow pride. Pagan pride. Is this the epitome of pagan pride or what? What do you make of that one? Yeah, I made these tarot tales. When I started crocheting, actually, this kind of feeds into my notions about minimalism, minimal art, and these are and spiral energies, because I make a chain and then just keep going around and increasing in a spiral from the top to the bottom like a pyramid until it's wide enough to fit around my head. And it's a real easy way to crochet. And I've made a ton of these things, like 50 or 60 over the years. Not so many lately. I'm doing more charity crochet work now. But anyway, enough foolishness. Today, we'll do a little unboxing. This is probably not new to a lot of you because I hadn't seen it, but I looked online and I noticed it's from, I think it's about 5 or 7 years old, or maybe more. The Medieval Tarot. Oops, I'm going to have to turn the light on for this. Do you know this deck, the Medieval Tarot? I like classically oriented images in my decks and traditional looking stuff, but I prefer my minor arcana to be fully pictorial, and this is. So I'm going to do a little run through of this. I thought these might be actually from actual historic artworks, but I think it's another one of those deals where they're just basing it on art that's older and traditional. The art is by Guido Zabordi Marchesi, which I don't know anything about him. Oh, it says collection graphics by Pietro Aligo. So I don't know, is it Marchesi or Aligo? Anybody know this deck? Forest and Fawn makes blankets. Tangi makes blankets. I can't do blankets so much. They take up so much time. It takes a lot of patience to make something as large as a blanket. Oh, I did make this though. Hold on. I made this rainbow blanket. And it wasn't tough to do because I did it. I actually made about a dozen rainbow striped scarves, and then I stitched them all together. It's really too hot to be wearing this today, but I'll put it on for a little bit. Yes, it's Pride blanket. Tangi says, can I just use hot glue and fabric? I'm going to try it on a live. Yes, I'd like to see that. So, it's too hot already. So this medieval tarot, I should go through this quickly because it might be old news for some of you. That's the back, which is pretty. One thing I noticed, I did watch a flip through of this, and one thing I really liked about it for Lo Scarabeo, this one, they just have numbers at the top of the bottom, no text labels. That's the Fool. Nice colors. And I also like the way the images are kind of blurred out to the borders. No, like, sharp, hard edge borders. So it's like you're sort of transported in time in a little fog cloud to the Middle Ages or something to see these little vistas. Wow, thanks for everybody for showing up. Forest and Fawn, Amethyst Moonstone, Carmen, Tar Apple, Tarot Tales, wonderful. This gives me a lot of encouragement, guys, and I want to send a shout out to Simon for kicking it all off. It was his site and his channel and Becca's channel that encouraged me the most to take steps to start on my own, and I really consider him a valued mentor. So I needn't say, if you don't know the Hermit's Cave, subscribe, because I'm sure all of you have come over from there, and I appreciate that. Speaking of which, isn't that a nice hermit? Beautiful hermit, I think. Ooh, looks like a torture wheel. This is a little different for a death card, with an angel sort of rising above the skeleton. And I like this kind of alchemical kind of temperance. I'm not sure if I like this devil. It has a kind of a Russian look or something. Soviet art. I don't know. It just doesn't look medieval to me. Tower. It just blew its lid. Nobody's falling. See what I mean, though, about the labels? I don't know why they repeated them at the top and the bottom. That seems a little redundant. This deck is the Medieval Tarot from Lo Scarabeo. Apparently it's not new, but it's new to me. I went through dozens of videos on YouTube last night trying to find a new deck for my collection that I could unbox and show you today. And I am a fussy shopper. I just couldn't find things that I liked until I saw this one. I thought, okay, you've been on here 2 hours looking at videos trying to find a deck. You can stop now. And luckily, I'm starting these lives out slow. I'm only doing one a month because I can see how some of you, I don't know how Becca does it. What is it, 3 times a week? I would be overwhelmed by that. And Simon, you too. So much time involved with everybody. It's kind of funny. This old man just lying on the floor while this couple is in bed. I like this one, this artist painting. Tanji says, I hear that decks have to call me or scream but lately they've been screaming a lot. LOL. Someone typed the name and I've forgotten already. It's the Medieval Tarot. Here's a man and his pig. I guess it's a pig. Or is it a fat lamb? It's pretty fat. And some celebrating gals, and one has forgotten her clothes. The 10 of Cups. That'd be a nice card, a nice invitation for a wedding card. Yeah, it's by Lo Scarabeo. Look at those shoes. Pointy toe shoes to go with my hats. That is one big cup he's holding. I mean, I thought I had a large mug, but woo! The Tipsy King. Now for coins. Not sure why the coins has a couple of ships in it. I like these ships, but I don't know, could it be merchants at sea? What do you guys think about that? Is this a new trend in Lo Scarabeo with the labeling? What do you make of it? It's definitely better than the 5 or 6 languages. If any of you are worried, I won't keep you on too long today. This is my first time, and I don't want to string you along for too long. Oh, we're 20 minutes in. We might make it to half an hour. Ain't she pretty? Like that green. It's not often you get a crown with a brim on it. Now for the wands, or should I say clubs. Hi, Stormy. This is a weird one. They're lowering this knight onto his horse. This is the 6. It looks like they're confusing us with Roman numerals overhead. What is that? Like 8? Is it 8? Is it 12? The cardstock is typical low scarabeo, and the finish is semi-gloss. Sculptor. Very Pygmalion. Ooh. Isn't she regal? Looks like she might be pregnant too. Amethyst Moonstone. I do like this deck. Yeah, I like it too. If anybody saw Dustin's Modern Metaphysic Man, his live yesterday, he did a wonderful cast on color, the use of color in tarot, and explaining the history of pigments and how they were constructed and used, which leads me to believe this is not medieval after all, because he said the blues were derived from lapis lazuli, which is quite expensive to grind into a pigment and mix into paint. So I expect these are somebody's fantasy notions of medieval art, but I think they did a pretty good job of it, and I do like the colors. But if you look at something like the Cat Black deck, where the Golden Tarot, where she computer scanned original works, you're going to see mostly colors that are autumn earth colors, gold, red, and brown, derived from dirt, basically, earth pigments. You're not going to see blues and greens like this. Let's see. Dustin is such a great teacher. Yeah, he is, Donna. I'm anxious to continue watching his series. He's going to be working with individual symbols in the tarot, and I'm very interested to see that. Here's the Queen of Swords with her crown strapped on tight. Looks like she's got a B-52 wig on. And lastly, the King of Swords. I made a little card of notes of stuff I wanted to cover, and I've been going through it so fast. I did want to show you a couple of cards from another deck and get your take on them, because I find these really curious. Now, these are from the Everyday Witch Tarot, which I've done a flip through on. It's probably my favorite because I find it the easiest to read. But I want to see what you all think of it. I thought this this live could have been a success, or it could have been the Tower. So I dragged out the Tower card just in case it went that way. But this is a curious Tower, I think, and I want to see what you all make of it, because in most depictions of the Tower, we see victims falling to the Tower's collapse. And in this one, this witch seems in charge. It looks like she's the one that caused the Tower to collapse. She's in control of shaking things up. So what do you think of that? Tar Apple, love that Tower card. She brings down the Tower. Yeah. It's great because to me, I see an endeavor falling down. She is in control, Carmen. Yep. Amethyst, I thought the same thing. Hello, did I miss much, Yvette? Well, you can watch it back later. This is the other card that I wanted to point out. This is my all-time favorite death card, and it's from, again, the Everyday Witch. This one, to me, is very much about moving forward. You have behind the death figure the saying, you know, when one door closes, another door opens, which I like very much. I like little the idioms, axioms, famous sayings, quaint quotes. I love when images bring those to mind in cards, and this one does for me. That when one door closes, another one opens. And also you see that the death figure can't move forward until he cuts the cord. So, and he's got his sword, his blade at the ready to cut the cord and move on from, you know, life, whatever was in the past, to whatever comes next. And we don't really know what comes next, which is maybe why he is surrounded by this kind of spooky fog that's not quite well defined in terms of, is it ghosts? What shape does the future take? And then at the bottom you see this little cat, which is cats are playful. It's playing with the tail of something off the edge of the image. So it's kind of like it's hanging on to the tail of whatever, like we hang on to life and, you know, don't want to accept change or move on. Anyway, I love this death card. It's more about, for me, transition and moving on than it is about dying or the ending of things. Reference of cats having 9 lives. Here's another one. This is the Four of Pentacles, which here he is. He's got all his valuables. He's sitting on the chest. Nobody's going to get in that chest and take his stuff. The door is locked. He's in a locked room. But you notice the cat's pointing out anybody can get in through the window and take it all. So I really kind of love that. Tangi, me seeing even if there's a death of something, it doesn't necessarily mean it's over because it can come back or rebirth. Yeah. And then this one, the moon. And I never got the crayfish lobster thing in the moon card, although I think somebody at some point pointed out that Cancer, the crab is the sign for Cancer, for the moon. But it's not a crab in the card. It's a crayfish or a lobster. I don't get it. But I did like the dogs that appeared to me straddling the path between a domestic dog and a wild dog, sort of between, natural instincts and domesticated, civilized nature, more well thought, reasoned out way of thinking. And this card kind of does that, reflects that literally. It reflects the domestic cat in the water as a wild panther. So that really kind of carries that metaphor through, I think. The witch reminds me of the show Bewitched. What are you singing? Are you singing Bewitched? I don't know the lyrics from it. There was a lyric to that TV show theme, although they didn't use it on the theme for the TV show. Actually, I think Peggy Lee sang a version of it. And that brings me to, if any of you are up later tonight, I have a weekly radio show that I do. Yes. It's at luxuriamusic.com, and it's from New York time, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. I think California, which is where the station actually is I think it might be 8 to 10. And for those of you in the UK, I think it's like 4 to 6 in the morning. So sorry, nobody's going to be up that early to listen except maybe Simon, because he seems to get up at the crack of dawn. But it airs as a podcast within 20 minutes of its actual airtime. So you can always download it and listen to it later. But I would love it if some of you would show up and join me in the chat room. My shows are pre-recorded as podcasts. They debut live on Monday nights. And I am always in the chat room, usually sitting there twiddling my thumbs because nobody or very few are showing up to chat or ask questions. So yeah, if you're around and you're up to it, please visit luxuriamusic.com. It's all one word, just like I might put it in the notes below this afterwards. luxuriamusic.com. My show is called The Dark Day Escape Pod, and I feature 10 genres of music from 10 different decades. So it's all over the place. It jumps from music from the 1920s through today and just goes back and forth. And it's an escape from these evil times that we're in. And there's a lot of 60s, 70s, 80s music in it, predominantly. But, other stuff too, torch songs from the 40s, jazz from the 20s, um, um, new wave from the 80s, punk and so forth from the 70s, and dance music all throughout too. And speaking of which, one of my old guilty pleasures, Bananarama, yes, they are still around. And the girls are still looking pretty good, even in their new videos. They are still writhing around on couches and rugs, but looking fabulous for 50 something, 60, I'm not sure. Anyway, they have a new album out, and I am debuting the single from their new album, my first opening cut tonight. Also, my show usually works from a theme related to song titles, and the single's called Stuff Like That. And so my theme for tonight's show is Stuff Like That There. So all the songs in tonight's show over all the many decades comes from, it either has stuff or things in the title. So yeah, tune in and check that out. And does anybody have any questions? Because I think I'm going to end this soon if you don't, because I have kind of run out of things to talk about, and it's we've only done about 37 minutes. Let's see. Forest and Fawn. I love Bananarama. I just saw them last year, all three together. Wow. Thanks, Tangi, for congratulations. Yes, my first live. Like I said, I have, 3 or 4 weeks now to prepare for the next one in September. And I think what I'm going to do is, this one was kind of focused on the Fool. I think next month I'm going to focus on the Magician. Now, don't hold me to that. I don't think I'm going to go through every card in the deck, but we'll see. The Magician works for me. It'll be my birthday in September, and I create a lot of stuff, line drawings and crochet and other stuff. And people have been asking me about my wand collection, so we might look at my wand collection in September for the Magician. Won't that be appropriate? So yeah, any questions? Hi, Naomi. Sorry you missed it. Like I said, as soon as we're done, it's available to go back and look at. Sorry we missed Becca today. I was hoping she'd pop by, or Kelly Bear. Anyway, I'm thrilled that all of you have been here joining me tonight. And Simon says she's very tired. Yes, Simon, I appreciate you showing up too, because you must be exhausted. I couldn't, I was worn out just watching the clips you posted from the gathering. I'd have been the one dragging behind even the people in their electric wheelchairs. I just, wouldn't have been able to keep up. You'd have had to plant me in a cafe somewhere and come back. But okay, Simon, sleep well, and maybe you'll be up early for my radio show. Thanks, everybody else. And Sandra, thanks, everybody who I made admins. We didn't have any trolls after all, apparently. I really appreciate that you let me take advantage of you, and I really apologize for doing that without getting your permission up front. I was so scared to go on here and have to fight the trolls on my own without any admins. And I didn't know if I could do it on the fly. And I thought, I better see if I can do it before the fact. And so if any of you didn't want to be admins or don't want to be in the future, drop me a note and I'll remove you. Again, I apologize for doing that, but I mean, I pick the people that I see doing it in other lives that I trust, to take care of us all and keep this a safe space. So thank you, everybody, and see you in the other chat rooms and next month, hopefully. Bye-bye.